Hello, and welcome to a book haul with far too many books. Yeah, I don't know how to justify this. I'm just going to say that we had my parents visit, and as a result, I just kind of lost my mind. We went to a lot of book. We were showing my parents around all the bookstores that we love. We went to Toronto. There's a lot of bookstores. Like there was just a lot going on. And when you go to some of the independent ones, you find books that you can't. I've been looking for and waiting for. So, you know, it happened. I can't argue with it. Most of them I would say are secondhand. A lot of them we picked up from secondhand stores. So I don't feel bad in the sense of cost and things like that. We did pretty well, but the sheer amount is worrying. This was just a fantastic find. Now, Grace and we've been collecting the Malazan books, the full Malazan Empire, because I've finished the Malazan series, obviously, like the main 10, and I do, when I reread them, want to read all of them. This time, all the Esselmont books as well. We've been lucky. We've been finding them. We've been really finding them. And we went into this store we love, which has like a basement that's just full of books. And right there, the first bookcase you see of like new science fiction fantasy they've had to come into the store, there it was. 3 books by Esselmont. There was a 4th that we already had, but we got them there last time, and then this time there's more waiting for us. Someone in the area clearly is getting rid of their Esselmont books. Who cares? We're getting them. So, yeah, secondhand, amazing find. Great condition and everything. So, I mean, you cannot argue with it. And I think that leaves us with just 2 more books in the Malazan Empire series. Like, there's the novellas and stuff, but, but we just need Dead House Landing and then The God Is Not Willing. They are the only 2 books left. Otherwise, we now own all of the Malazan Empire. And I think other than book 9 and 10, we found them all secondhand. Every single one of them. Which is why these are worthwhile. Because, there's a sum total of money that we have enjoyed from Stephen Erickson and Esselmont's world and writing that we have never given money to them for it. You know what I mean? And so, in my humble opinion, I feel that it is justified, that it's my favourite series of all time, and I feel bad that I have never given them a penny. That's why these exist, as well as being amazing additions, is that I also love Broken Binding, and I also love Stephen Erickson and Esselmont's world, and as a result, this justifies everything, in my opinion. Also, please let me know if you've read any of these or you're interested in any of them. Let me know in the description, in the comments. Some of these are recommendations from the audience as well, so people will probably look at these and recognise them and know why I got them, and they'll know that they're the reason. So this is more of a reverse thing, because this is all being influenced by other people. Next up, I've actually read both of these before, but we were just at the local little library, and they had the first 2 volumes of Saga there. And I really enjoyed Saga. I never continued it because I fell out of love with graphic novels and stuff. But for just finding them in the book box, if I want to reread them and then continue the series, it's just a great incentive because they're there now. So I thought that was fantastic. So that's an aside. They were free, just pick them up. I got another Guy Gavriel K book, Sailing to Serantium. This is part of a duology. And yeah, now I am so in on the Guy Gavriel K hype that it's not even funny. It's a problem. I have adored 2 of the 3 books I've read by Guy Gavriel K, and the other one really, really enjoyed. I've read Written on the Dark, the new Guy Gavriel K book. I'm going to do a review of all 3, kind of like I did with Han Kang, where I'm just going to go through and talk about why I love Guy Gavriel K's writing. But yeah, I have a Brightness Long Ago, Grace Scott, and then I got this. So we've got a couple more Guy Gavriel K's for me to go through, and I've pre-ordered the new book now that I've read the arc for it, so that will also be continuing. In my video talking about my favourite series, I asked for recommendations for an underrated series, and I went through and added a bunch to my watch list and that kind of thing. But a series that I then found after that video, very soon after, and was kind of like, well, screw it, we'll pick them up, was I picked up Gog Magog by Jeff Noon and Steve Beard. Firstly, gorgeous cover. I obviously read the description, but I didn't. It's what I always read blurbs to books, and I'm like, if I'm interested, just in general, it will go in my wish list, and then I try to forget everything about it, because that's just how I like to approach books. The most I know is that the reason I picked it is that it has like a 3.6 or something on Goodreads for the first book, and I'm like, you know what? I'm currently on the opinion that Goodreads is a monster, and Goodreads, just having an arbitrary number to assign quality, is inherently flawed, and I'm looking to hopefully try to prove it. So, Gog Magog is something that I'm resting a lot of. It's a hypothesis. It says, a journey through the 60-mile-long ghost of a dragon. Meet Katie Mead, captain of the steam launch Juniper. In her heyday, she carried people and goods on the River Nisus, from the thriving seaports of the estuary into Ludditch, the capital city. But that was years ago. Now she's a drunk, holed up in a run-down seaside resort, telling her bawdy tales for shots of rum. All this changes when two strangers seek her out, asking for transport. A young girl, very ill and in grave danger, and an artificial being of singular character with secrets hidden inside his crystal skull. But the Nisus is unlike any other river. Few can navigate its channels, whirlpools, and sandbanks. Few know of the ravenous creatures that lurk beneath the surface, and Katie's glory days are well behind her now. This is meant to be a Gormangast-inspired kind of fantasy, which I have not read Gormangast. I want to read Gormangast with all my heart. It's been something I've wanted to read for a long time. You can only buy the deluxe illustrated trilogy here that is worth too much money, in my humble opinion, and I struggle to justify it, and I don't want to buy it and then not enjoy it, and then I'm just like, oh, I've spent all this money on it, I don't want to get rid of it, and it's too big, and now fuck myself. So, Gormangast, if someone has copies of Gormangast they just want to send my way, I will pay for delivery and whatever. If they're like, I've got a second copy, I don't give a shit, let me know. Because I really want to read Gormangast, and I don't want to read it digitally. I don't know why, but I just don't want to read it digitally. You may have noticed I have two books in my hand, and that's because I found the second book as well. So the person who said that I should read Gog Magog, you've got a lot on the line. I bought these two books, which come together. Where does it go? They fit together to make this fucking awesome connected cover. Love that. Absolutely love it. I won't lie, that's one of the reasons I got it as well, because I just think they're stunning covers regardless of quality. But I hope these turn out well, and like I said, I'm interested in the kind of steampunky kind of vibe it has. I'm interested in the Gormangast relationship, and most importantly, I'm wanting to give smaller independent fantasy a shout, and I think it looks like a winner in my opinion. I then picked up, this is a book I've been looking for a long fucking time, a real long time, and it was very annoying because they would have 4 of his books in our local store, and it never changed. I've never been able to find it. We went to a different bookstore, it had one destroyed, completely destroyed, there's no way. So I left that, and then we found it, and I was buzzing. I was like, okay, I'm buying this shit. Then we go back to our local store the very next time, and it's there, the 5th book. They got an extra one, they got the first book in the series, finally, after like 6 months, they finally ordered it back in, after I bought it from a different place. So that was annoying as shit. and that is Consider Flebus by Ian M. Banks. Someone who I've heard a lot about. I mean, Ian Banks writes under two different names. He adds the M if it's science fiction. He doesn't if it's kind of literary fiction. So, like, from Ian Banks, I'm aware of The Wasp Factory. He's a very well-regarded author. And for science fiction, the Culture novels are extremely well-regarded and very popular as well. And I find it interesting, the idea of this, someone who's so popular in two different avenues, just with a slightly different pen name. You're aware it's him, but it sets up an expectation of what style of him you're going to get. And yeah, my old housemate, his parents were big fans of the Culture books. His dad recommended me them, and then also he himself recommended me to read it, Manx. So I've been waiting to find it, and here it is. So this says that war rages across the galaxy. Billions have died, billions more are doomed. Moons, planets, the very stars themselves face cold-blooded, brutal destruction. The Idrians fight for their faith, the Culture for its moral right to exist. Principles are at stake. There can be no surrender. Within this cosmic conflict, a crucial battle of wits is waged. Deep within a fabled labyrinth on a planet of the dead, forbidden to mortals, lives a fugitive mind. Both the Culture and the Idorans, sorry, it's the Idorans, not the Idrians. The Idorans desperately seek it. It is the fate of Horza, the Changer, and his motley crew of unpredictable mercenaries, human and machine, to actually find it, and within it, their own destruction. So, yeah, I saw someone review it as the most science fiction that's ever science fictioned. I'm here for that. The quotes at the beginning are from the Quran and from The Wasteland by T.S. Eliot. Also pretty baller. So that's one that I look forward to. Also, as you're watching this, if you want to let me know which ones of these you think I should read, what I should prioritise, let me know that as well. We'll switch to the other stack. These Burning Stars by Bethany Jacobs is another sci-fi, and one that has been championed in our Discord a lot. It had its time in the sun, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. A lot of people have been hyping it. And so I've seen it a few times, and I've kind of been like, meh, will I? The last book comes out this year, so I'm kind of like, okay, I'll read the first one, and then I can... It's kind of the same as what I'm doing with The Art of Prophecy, where I'll read the first one. If I like it, then I'll be ready for that last book to come out. This one says, on a dusty backwater planet, occasional thief Yun Ironway has gotten her hands on a score of a lifetime. A secret that could raise the kingdom, the ruling power of the galaxy. A star system away, preternaturally stoic Chono and a brilliant hothead Ezek, the two most brutal clerics of the kingdom, are tasked with hunting Yun down. And tracking all three across the stars is a ghost from their shared past, known only as Six. But what Six wants is anyone's guess. It's a game of manipulation and betrayal that could destroy them all, and they have no choice but to see it through. So I thought this sounded interesting, but when it had the idea of the ghost, I hope it's a literal ghost. That's what made me interested, was this kind of supernatural element in this science fiction story. But yeah, the idea of like I don't think it's going to be a physical ghost, which I know is stupid of me to think that, but we can hope. I'm sure that the people that have read it in the Discord are going to be like, you fucking idiot, of course it's not about that. But it got me to buy it. You got to take your wins when you get them. Next up, I got the Homage to Catalonia by George Orwell. This is I've been wanting to read more non-fiction, obviously, and this was recommended by one of my friends, and it is about when George Orwell was sent to Spain to kind of get surveillance on the conflict going on there, and he ended up joining the Catalonians. He ended up joining the kind of rebel movement. The Catalonian movement is something that isn't really spoken about worldwide, but it's an interesting one and something that flares up usually once every decade or two. And so I think it's interesting to read a kind of hands-on experience of someone like going into that and discovering and picking a side, essentially. So that one's there. Then this was picked up purely because I kept on seeing about it. It's just come out. It came out April this year, so just last month, and I just started seeing people talk about it, like Esme, a couple of people in Discord, and I thought it had a cool cover. I read the description, it sounded interesting, and just a lot of people were like, this is the one, like this is actually a great book. And that is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. They have written other books before, but this is their first fantasy, I believe, and it's like a mystery fantasy. Yeah, I just kind of had this feeling of like, I need to get this. So the description of this is: The Raven Scholar is a masterfully woven tale of imperial intrigue from an electrifying new voice in epic fantasy. That's the other thing. Supporting new epic fantasy, I think is important, and especially if it's going to be one that's like, oh, this is an actually great book, then I feel like I just want to read it and champion it. So it says, let us fly now to the Empire of Oran, where after 24 years of peace, the reign of Burzon the Brisk has come to an end. In the dizzying heat of midsummer, 7 exceptional warriors, thinkers, and strategists compete to replace him. When one of them is murdered, it falls to Nima Kra, the Emperor's brilliant, idiosyncratic high scholar, to find the killer and fight for the throne. Nima believes she is alone, but we are here to help. All she has to do is let us in. If she succeeds, we will win an empire. If she fails, death awaits her, but we won't let that happen. We are the Raven, and we are magnificent. I had not even read the description. So the second person element, very interesting. I don't even know if the book is told in second person or something. I have no idea. Hopefully that pays off for me. I really hope so. I got Perfume, which is a book I've just heard about a lot, as a kind of modern classic. It came out in the 50s, I think, 50s, 60s. No, it came out in the 80s. That's crazy. I didn't know that. And yeah, it's the story of a murderer. It says, in the slums of 18th century Paris, a baby is born. Jean-Baptiste clings to life with an iron will, growing into a dark and sinister young man who, although he has no scent of his own, possesses an incomparable sense of smell. He apprentices himself to a perfumer and quickly masters the ancient art of mixing flowers, herbs, and oils. But his quest to create the ultimate perfume leads him to commit a series of brutal murders until no woman can feel safe as his final horrifying secret is revealed. Very Jack the Ripper, very, what's it called? My God, why am I forgetting his name? The Butcher of Fleet Street. You know who I mean. There's a fucking musical with Johnny Depp. Why am I forgetting his name?
Come and visit your good friend Sweeney.
The guy who shaves people and slits their throat. Why do I remember the fucking murderer of Fleet Street but not the guy's name? It doesn't matter. It gives that kind of old serial killer vibe. Feels like that mixed with like a Dorian Gray, someone who's obsessed with perfection and like attractiveness and that kind of thing, with the implication of perfume. So I just thought it looked interesting. I've heard very mixed but positive things overall in terms of it being a classic. We then also found 2 more Kurt Vonnegut books. I've been finding a lot of Kurt Vonnegut books in this particular thing from secondhand bookstores. I've read Slaughterhouse-5 and loved it by him. I've wanted to read more. So he could be someone that I read the entire bibliography of at some point because of how many I'm picking up. But he does have a lot of books. But yeah, you know, like he's someone that I'm very interested in reading more from. I've saved 2 non-fictions for almost last, so I'm going to get those out of the way. I won't let non-fiction be the end for you all. But Grace picked up Guns, Germs and Steel, which is a 2000 book, I think, that is very well regarded. I don't really know what it's about, but that's something I'm interested in reading in as well. So yeah, that one. And then this one I've been looking for a long time after I saw a review of it. I finally found in Toronto, and that is Destiny Disrupted, A History of the World Through Islamic Eyes, which is apparently just meant to recontextualize a lot of things like the Silk Road and all that, where rather than looking at it from our perspective in the Western world, it just flips it and provides a different perspective. So this says, we in the West share a common narrative of world history, that our story largely omits a whole civilization whose citizens shared an entirely different narrative for 1,000 years. In Destiny Disrupted, Tamim Ansari tells the rich story of world history as the Islamic world saw it, from the time of Muhammad to the fall of the Ottoman Empire and beyond. He clarifies why our civilizations grew up oblivious to each other, what happened when they intersected, and how the Islamic world was affected by its slow recognition that Europe, a place it long perceived as primitive and disorganized, had somehow hijacked destiny. So, yes, I just think that's an important book to provide a fully rounded view of history and perspective. I've read 2 Percival Everett books. I've read James, obviously, and I've read Erasure as well. And the next book I wanted to read by him was The Trees, which has been out of stock in every store I've looked in. So we went to a random store. It was a coffee shop and also a bookstore in Toronto, and I found there The Trees, which is a kind of commentary, black comedy, satire, detective story from what I've heard. Which is that when a pair of detectives from the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation arrive in Money, Mississippi, to investigate a series of brutal murders, they find at each crime scene an unexpected second dead body, that of a man who resembles Emmett Till. After meeting resistance from the local sheriff, his deputy, the coroner, and a string of racist white townsfolk, the FBI detectives suspect there are killings of retribution. Then they discover eerily similar murders taking place in rapid succession all over the country. The past, it seems, refuses to be buried. The uprising has begun. In this provocative page-turner that takes direct aim at racism and police violence, Percival Everett offers a devastating critique of white supremacy and confronts the painful legacy of lynching in the United States. So, yes. This reminds me of when I read the Monique Roffey book that came out, the not Mermaid of Black Conch, the second book, which was, she used the genre and the archetypes of and the kind of expectations of crime fiction to tell a story about violence to women, about femicide, and it feels like Percival Everett, this is a similar idea of using conventions and using expectations from a genre to tell a story that is fully a social commentary on a devastating and larger issue. So I'm interested in reading that because I've enjoyed Percival Everett's other books. The plot itself also sounds interesting, and then also from the lens of comparing those 2 books as the possibility of them doing similar things. So they are all the books that I bought. Too many, and yet I'm excited to read every single one of them. Like I said, if you please can let me know which ones you think I should read first, what I should prioritise, then I will probably. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. As always, if you did enjoy, please do like, please do subscribe. Let me know which ones you've read, what you thought of them. Did I make a mistake? Did I make the right choice? And let me just get all these books together, because I will say, as always, Jesus Christ, it looks way worse like this. Fuck me. Have a nice rest of your day.